Hey everyone, it's Terry again with Good Dog Coaching and Pet Care. Good Dog Coaching and Pet Care is a dog training and pet sitting company located in Gwinnett County, Georgia. And what we do is basic obedience and behavioral issue training for dogs and their humans. And we also provide pet sitting services all over Gwinnett County for our families that travel and they have pets at home of any kind. Our sitters come in and take care of them in their home, providing feeding and love and attention. And we also provide dog walking services. So for folks that work long hours and they have a dog at home, we'll come in and take that dog out for potty and an energy burning dog walk so they can come home at the end of the day knowing that their dog has had some attention and they can relax and just enjoy their dog. So this is a video for Training Tip Tuesday, and wanted to share with you the feeding routine. This is something that we teach our clients. A feeding routine is great because it helps to calm down mealtime mania. A lot of people experience that with their dogs. Most importantly, it helps you to share leadership with your dog, teaching your dog to be calm, waiting for food. And I'm going to show you how that works here. I've got Harlan in the background, and we're going to do this with him. He's pretty green on this this routine, and then we'll bring in Cole, and I'll show you, a dog that's been doing it for a long time. So, feeding routine. When you're first starting out, you want to take their food and divide it into several smaller portions so you can repeat this process over and over again, okay, at each meal. So, 3 or 4 portions so you can do the same thing, one right after another. That repetition is what really helps dogs learn anything, whatever you're teaching them, quickly. So when you kind of do like drills, one right after another, that really helps it sink in. So basically what I'm going to do is I've got his food in the bowl, and for these purposes I've got all of his food in the bowl. So I am going to just go back there and stand and wait for him to sit down. I'm not going to tell him to sit. I want him to figure it out on his own. And the moment he sits, I'm going to start to lower the bowl. If he gets up, I'm going to pick the bowl up. As soon as his butt goes down again, I'm going to lower, and I'm going to do that back and forth until I can set the food bowl down and he doesn't go for it. I can stand all the way up and he looks up at me and gives me eye contact. Then I'll release him to the food, and not before. There's no talking. I'm not telling the dog to do anything. I want them to figure it out. I want them to use that brain power and figure out, how do I get that thing that I want? And I know he wants it because he's really food motivated. So in the beginning, the first time you do this with your dog, you're going to be tempted to tell them to sit. Don't do it. You're going to think, my dog's never going to do it. They will if you're patient enough. And sometimes if you've had to do the up and down so many times, when you're putting the bowl down, you're with your body language, you're telling your dog, I like what you're doing right now. When you're picking it back up, you're saying, I don't like what you're doing. So sometimes, if you've had to do that a lot, you'll put it down, and they may even be at this point laying down, and they just don't even pay any attention to it, and they're not looking at you either. Just be patient, okay? Because after telling them no so many times, they can be a little confused. This is brand new for them. But again, be patient. So here we go. So I'll actually, let him know, hey, this is what I've got, and then I just stand here and wait. So he sits down, he gets up. The moment he sits, I start to put it down again. If he gets up, I pick it up. And by the way, you notice how I'm standing sideways to him? I don't care where the dog sits. I just want to, when he does eventually sit down, I want to have enough room in between him and I to be able to scoop that food up. So I don't stand directly facing him. Because if I did this, it would be too close, too tempting, too hard for him, but also I wouldn't have enough time to scoop it up when I needed to. and that's it. So the moment he looked at me, I said, okay, waved my hand and walked away. All right? Now, that was pretty easy. Some dogs are not that easy. So I want you to keep in mind that you have to be patient again. Those first few times, it may take a while, and that's okay. You want your dog to figure it out, and let them do the work. You just stand there. All right. If they move and turn, he didn't move around a whole lot. Some dogs will move around a whole lot. They'll come over here. Then I just turn sideways to that. I always want to put it on the outside of the foot that is furthest away from the dog. Again, giving me space in between the dog and the bowl. If I'm standing up and the dog's looking at the bowl, but they're still sitting, that's not good enough. I want that dog to look up at me. In other words, like this, can I have that? And then my answer to that is, yes, you can. And I just say, okay, and walk away. If you've done this over and over in terms of that first time, and you say, okay, and you walk away, and the dog remains there, just sitting because they're like, wait a minute, but you've been telling me no all this time, just ignore them. Don't say, okay, okay, okay. Just say it one time and walk away. That's it. And if you break their meal up into several portions at each meal, you'll notice they get really quick at it, okay? And so I'm going to show you that with Cole while he's finishing his. Cole! Come. Good job, Harlan. All right, sorry for that hard pause, but all right, come on, Harlan. Harlan, come on, buddy. Come on, get here. Okay, so I'm training Harlan up because he is very food motivated, and not that he's an issue around food, but I want to be able to step away from Cole's food bowl and show you what, once your dog's fully trained, what that looks like. So I got Cole's breakfast here. And so when I'm preparing her food, she typically comes around and just sits down and waits, or lays down and waits. And as soon as I present it to her, actually, come here. Come over here as you can see, all right? So she's an old hand at this. She knows this is what we do. I'm going to set the food down. And I want you to see how quickly she looks at me and continues to look at me, waiting for me to release her. I can actually walk away. And, she will follow me, looking at me. I could go upstairs. I could leave the room. I can do whatever. And she's going to continue to wait for that food. And I do, I do challenge her. I don't always give it to her right away. I will leave the room. I will go upstairs. And, again, just challenge her, waiting for that. If I leave the room and I come back, the moment I come in, she's doing that, looking at me. Okay? So this is lots of practice. Oh, a little whining because we're standing here and I'm talking to you. Okay. So that's it. Again, it's about leadership. It's about structure. It's also about, if you've got a dog that you have issues with them eating, if you're free feeding, meaning leaving the food out all the time because you're worried they're not getting enough food, get them on a feeding routine. Okay, here's the rules. If you have a dog that's been being free fed, they very well may sniff the food and walk away because they're used to the buffet being out all the time. So what you do is, once you put the food down, you set a timer. You give them 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you come back. If there's food left in the bowl, you pick it up, even if it's all the food, okay? Here's the important part. I'm going to use easy numbers just to make it easy. So let's say you feed your dog 2 cups of food a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. In that morning, at that morning feeding, if your dog eats half a cup, let's say, after 15 minutes they've eaten half a cup. Now if their head's in the bowl, you know, you let them finish, but they're nowhere to be found. Pick that bowl up, okay? So let's say they ate half of it. Then in the evening, at the evening feed, you're going to take that half a cup that was left over and add a half a cup to it to make a 1 cup serving. In other words, they lost a half a cup of food that day, okay? Don't feel bad. I've never met a dog that will starve itself. Never, okay? So, you do the same thing, the feeding routine, right? The next morning, you know, again, feed. And even at that evening, if they don't eat it all, you take whatever's left over in the morning, you'll add to it to make that 1 cup serving. So they're losing a little bit of food, but what's happening is 2 things are happening. They're learning that when the food's around, they need to eat it because they don't know when it's coming back. That's actually a dog's natural instinct, and we train that out of them with free feeding. But second, they're losing out on some food, so they're getting hungry. They're gaining an appetite. And again, eventually, within a few days, a few feedings usually, they figure out, boy, when that food goes down, I better eat it because I don't know when it's coming back, all right? And that's important because it's also it's important for many reasons, the leadership thing. It's important for knowing how much food is your dog really eating each day, and it's also important for their teeth. You know, the more they're kind of nibbling on food, it means the more they have food on their teeth throughout the day. And they also have a tendency to drink a whole lot more water when they're grazing throughout the day, so they have to pee more. For anybody that's having potty issues, that's a big issue, right? So get your dog on a schedule. It's really healthier for them. It's better for their teeth, their dental health overall. Food is a valuable resource that if you're just leaving it out in a bowl all day long, you're giving that away. And it's another way to share leadership with your dog, right? And use their brain power, which they need. You need that too. Having them work for their food, that waiting is working, okay? So if you have any questions, you can post them in the comment section, or you can email me at info@gooddogcoaching.com, info@gooddogcoaching.com. Happy to help you however I can. And, you know, share. All right. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.